Leo rising in Navamsha manifestations. Leo to Aries, manifestation. The individual is naturally inclined to take initiative and assert their authority in various aspects of life. They thrive on being in charge and often seek leadership positions where they can exercise their decisiveness and courage. Their personal and professional lives are marked by a constant drive for independence and action. However, they may struggle with being overly dominant or impulsive in relationships, especially in love. They often find themselves in situations where they must take the lead, whether they want to or not, and they must learn to balance their natural assertiveness with patience and understanding. Leo to Taurus. Manifestation. The person is focused on building material wealth and stability through their leadership and authority. They seek recognition through their ability to provide for themselves and others, often equating success with financial security. They are likely to channel their efforts into creating a comfortable and luxurious life for themselves, but they must avoid becoming overly attached to material possessions or using their power solely for personal gain. Relationships, especially romantic ones, may become strained if they prioritize material success over emotional connection. Manifestation. Communication becomes a powerful tool in the individual's leadership style. They are charismatic and excel in fields where quick thinking and eloquence are required. The person is likely to engage in multiple projects at once, often juggling various responsibilities with ease. However, they may struggle with maintaining focus or depth in their endeavors, particularly in relationships. Their love life may be characterized by flirtation and intellectual stimulation, but they must guard against being too superficial or emotionally detached in their connections. Leo to Cancer. Manifestation. Emotional intelligence becomes crucial for this individual's success in leadership and personal relationships. They are deeply connected to their emotions and may use their empathy to guide and support others, especially in nurturing roles. The person finds fulfillment in taking care of those they lead, often viewing their team or family as an extension of themselves. However, they must be careful not to become overly protective or emotionally reactive in challenging situations. Balancing emotional sensitivity with the need for control will be key to maintaining harmony in both personal and professional life. Leo to Leo. Manifestation. The individual fully embodies the traits of a strong, authoritative leader. They are confident, ambitious, and naturally draw attention wherever they go. This person thrives on recognition and is often the center of attention in any situation. Their leadership style is bold and direct, which can inspire others but may also lead to conflicts if they become too self-centered or egotistical. Maintaining humility and being mindful of others' perspectives will help them avoid power struggles and ensure long-term success in leadership roles. Leo to Virgo. Manifestation. The individual's leadership style is refined through a focus on service, organization, and attention to detail. They are hard-working and dedicated, often striving for perfection in their work. This placement suggests that the person may face challenges in balancing their desire for recognition with their need to serve others. They are likely to excel in positions where they can combine their leadership skills with practical problem-solving. However, they must be cautious of becoming overly critical of themselves and others, as this can lead to stress and dissatisfaction in both personal and professional relationships. Leo to Libra. Manifestation. The individual seeks to balance their need for authority with a desire for harmony and partnership. They are diplomatic in their leadership approach, often using charm and persuasion rather than force. This person values fairness and justice, and they are likely to excel in roles that require negotiation and collaboration. In their personal life, they seek a partner who complements their strong personality, but they must avoid becoming too dependent on others for validation. Maintaining a balance between their independent nature and their need for partnership is key to their emotional and professional fulfillment. Leo to Scorpio. Manifestation. The individual's leadership style is intense and transformative. They are driven by a desire to gain power and control, often navigating complex situations with emotional depth and strategic thinking. This person is not afraid of challenges and will dive deep into their work or personal relationships, seeking to transform themselves and others. However, they must guard against becoming overly controlling or manipulative, as this can lead to conflicts and power struggles, particularly in love and career. Learning to release control and trust in the process will help them achieve their goals without alienating those around them. Leo to Sagittarius. Manifestation. The individual is a natural leader with a broad vision and a love for exploration. They are driven by a desire to expand their horizons, whether through travel, education, or philosophy. This person is likely to inspire others with their optimism and enthusiasm, often taking on roles that allow them to teach or mentor. In their personal life, they seek a partner who shares their adventurous spirit and intellectual curiosity. However, they must be careful not to become overly idealistic or dogmatic in their beliefs, as this can lead to disillusionment or conflicts with others who may not share their views. Balancing their passion for growth with a grounded approach to relationships will ensure long-term success. Manifestation with planetary placements. Leo to Aries. Sun. Leadership is expressed boldly and confidently. The individual naturally takes charge in both personal and professional settings, driven by a need to assert their authority and gain recognition. They are action-oriented, often initiating projects and leading from the front, but they must be cautious of becoming overly domineering or impulsive in their leadership. Moon. Emotional security is tied to leadership and independence. The individual feels emotionally balanced when they are in control of their environment and able to take decisive action. However, they may struggle with emotional volatility or impatience, particularly when their leadership is challenged. Mars. Energy and drive are channeled into leadership and action. The individual is highly motivated and competitive, excelling in roles that require quick thinking and assertiveness. However, they may become aggressive or overly forceful in their pursuit of power, leading to conflicts with others. Mercury. Communication is sharp and direct, with a focus on leadership and initiative. The individual excels in intellectual pursuits that require decisiveness and bold thinking, but they must avoid being too hasty or blunt in their communication, as this can lead to misunderstandings or conflict. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through leadership and action. The individual seeks to broaden their horizons by taking on leadership roles and exploring new opportunities, but they must guard against overconfidence or taking unnecessary risks in their pursuit of success. Venus. Relationships are centered around leadership and independence. The individual values partners who respect their need for authority and autonomy, but they must avoid becoming too self-centered or domineering in their relationships, as this can create imbalances. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are focused on leadership and taking initiative. The individual approaches leadership with seriousness and a long-term perspective, often facing challenges or delays in achieving recognition, but ultimately succeeding through patience and persistence. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional leadership roles or take bold, unexpected actions to achieve success. However, they may struggle with maintaining stability in their leadership, as their desire for recognition can lead to erratic or risky behavior. Detached from traditional leadership roles, the individual may focus more on spiritual or philosophical growth than on gaining power or recognition. They may feel disconnected from the need for authority, preferring to explore deeper truths and wisdom. Leo to Taurus, Sun. Leadership is expressed through a focus on material stability and comfort. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to build wealth and create a secure environment, both personally and professionally. However, they must guard against becoming overly attached to material success and using their leadership solely for personal gain. Moon. Emotional security is tied to material stability and wealth. The individual feels emotionally balanced when they are able to provide for themselves and others, but they may struggle with possessiveness or fear of losing their financial security, leading to emotional stress. Mars. Energy is directed toward building wealth and material success. The individual is motivated by a desire to create financial stability, often taking aggressive action to secure resources. However, they may become too focused on material gain, neglecting emotional or relational needs. Mercury. Communication is practical and focused on financial matters. The individual excels in business and financial discussions, often using their intellect to secure material success. However, they must avoid becoming too transactional or materialistic in their interactions with others. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are centered around building wealth and material stability. The individual seeks to grow financially and intellectually through practical means, often pursuing opportunities that increase their resources. However, they should be cautious of overindulgence or greed in their pursuit of material success. Venus. Relationships are based on material comfort and emotional security. The individual values partners who provide financial stability and emotional support, but they must guard against becoming too dependent on material wealth for emotional fulfillment in their relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are focused on building wealth and ensuring long-term financial security. The individual approaches financial matters with patience and a long-term perspective, often facing challenges or delays in achieving financial success, but ultimately succeeding through perseverance. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional or unexpected methods to achieve financial success, often taking risks in business or material pursuits. However, they may struggle with instability in their financial life if they become too focused on unconventional means of gaining wealth. Ketu. Detached from material concerns, the individual may focus more on spiritual or emotional fulfillment than on building wealth. They may feel disconnected from the pursuit of material success, preferring to explore deeper emotional or philosophical truths. Leo to Gemini. Sun. Leadership is expressed through communication and intellectual pursuits. The individual takes charge in intellectual discussions and excels in roles that require quick thinking and adaptability. However, they may struggle with maintaining focus and depth in their leadership, often jumping from one idea to the next. Moon. Emotional security is tied to intellectual stimulation and communication. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when engaged in stimulating conversations or intellectual debates, but they may struggle with emotional consistency or superficiality in their relationships. Mars. Energy is directed toward intellectual pursuits and communication. The individual is highly motivated to succeed through their mental abilities, often taking on multiple projects or ideas at once. However, they may become too scattered or impatient in their intellectual endeavors. Mercury. Communication is fast-paced, sharp, and central to the individual's success. They excel in intellectual pursuits that require quick thinking and adaptability, but they must guard against becoming overly scattered or unfocused in their communication. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through intellectual exploration and communication. The individual seeks to broaden their knowledge and influence through teaching, writing, or travel, but must avoid overconfidence or spreading themselves too thin in their intellectual pursuits. Venus. Relationships are centered around intellectual stimulation and communication. The individual values partners who can engage them intellectually and may form relationships based on shared intellectual interests. However, they must avoid becoming too superficial in their relationships, focusing more on mental compatibility than emotional depth. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in communication are necessary for long-term success. The individual may face challenges in focusing their intellectual energy or communicating effectively, but with persistence they can develop a structured and disciplined approach to intellectual pursuits. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional or innovative communication methods. They are likely drawn to cutting-edge ideas and intellectual pursuits that challenge traditional norms, but must guard against becoming too erratic or unfocused in their approach. Detached from everyday intellectual concerns, the individual seeks deeper philosophical or spiritual knowledge. They are less interested in superficial conversations and more focused on exploring abstract ideas and higher learning, often feeling disconnected from mundane intellectual tasks. Manifestation with planetary placements. Leo to Cancer. Sun. Leadership is expressed through emotional connection and nurturing. The individual leads with empathy and compassion, often taking on roles that require them to care for others, especially in family or community settings. However, they may struggle with balancing their emotional sensitivity with the need for control and authority, sometimes becoming too emotionally involved in their leadership. Moon. Emotional security is tied to family and emotional stability. The individual finds comfort in nurturing and taking care of others, often feeling responsible for the emotional well-being of their loved ones. However, they may struggle with emotional boundaries, sometimes becoming overly protective or emotionally reactive. Mars. Energy is directed toward protecting and nurturing loved ones. The individual is passionate about ensuring the emotional security of their family and may take bold, assertive actions to protect their home and loved ones. However, they may become overly defensive or aggressive when their emotional security feels threatened. Mercury. Communication is emotionally driven, and the individual excels at expressing their feelings and connecting with others on an emotional level. However, they may struggle with objectivity, sometimes allowing emotions to cloud their judgment or communication in important situations. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through emotional wisdom and nurturing relationships. The individual seeks to grow by caring for others and creating emotional bonds, often focusing on family and community. However, they must guard against overextending themselves emotionally or becoming too emotionally dependent on others for their personal growth. Venus. Relationships are based on deep emotional connections. The individual values nurturing and loving relationships, often placing the emotional needs of their partner above their own. However, they must avoid becoming overly attached or dependent on their partner for emotional security. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are focused on emotional stability and family obligations. The individual may face emotional challenges or delays in achieving emotional fulfillment, but will ultimately achieve stability through patience and emotional maturity. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional methods of emotional expression, often seeking new and unexpected ways to connect emotionally with others. However, they may struggle with emotional instability or confusion when trying to balance their emotional needs with societal expectations. Detached from traditional emotional expressions, the individual seeks emotional fulfillment on a deeper, spiritual level. They are less interested in everyday emotional experiences and more focused on exploring the deeper meanings of their emotions and relationships. Leo to Leo. The individual fully embraces leadership and authority, expressing themselves confidently and assertively. They naturally take charge in any situation, often attracting attention and admiration for their boldness and self-assurance. However, they must guard against becoming overly egotistical or domineering, as this can lead to conflicts with others who may not share their strong personality. Moon. Emotional security is tied to recognition and leadership. The individual feels most comfortable when they are in control and receiving admiration from others, often seeking validation through their accomplishments. However, they may struggle with emotional volatility or insecurity if they feel their leadership is not appreciated. Mars. Energy is directed toward asserting leadership and authority. The individual is driven to succeed in leadership roles, often taking bold, decisive actions to achieve their goals. However, they may become overly aggressive or competitive, especially when their authority is challenged. Mercury. Communication is focused on expressing leadership and authority. The individual excels in situations that require confident and persuasive communication, often using their words to assert their leadership. However, they must avoid becoming too forceful or self-centered in their communication. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through leadership and recognition. The individual seeks to broaden their influence and wisdom through taking on leadership roles, but they must avoid becoming overly confident or self-important in their pursuit of recognition and success. Venus. Relationships are centered around admiration and mutual respect. The individual values partners who recognize and appreciate their leadership qualities, but they must avoid becoming too focused on receiving validation from their partner, as this can create imbalances in the relationship. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are focused on leadership and authority. The individual approaches leadership roles with patience and dedication, often facing challenges or delays in achieving recognition, but ultimately succeeding through persistence and hard work. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional methods of gaining recognition or leadership, often challenging traditional norms in their quest for authority. However, they may struggle with maintaining stability in their leadership if they become too erratic or unpredictable. Ketu. Detached from the need for recognition, the individual may focus more on spiritual or philosophical leadership than on material success. They are less interested in receiving external validation and more focused on developing inner strength and wisdom. Leo to Virgo. Sun. Leadership is expressed through service and practicality. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to solve problems and serve others, often excelling in roles that require attention to detail and organization. However, they may struggle with perfectionism, sometimes becoming overly critical of themselves or others in their leadership roles. Moon. Emotional security is tied to service and being useful to others. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they can help others and contribute to their well-being, but they may struggle with anxiety or self-criticism, particularly when they feel they are not meeting their own high standards. Mars. Energy is directed towards solving problems and improving efficiency. The individual is highly motivated to serve others and excel in practical tasks, often working hard to ensure that everything runs smoothly. However, they may become frustrated or irritable when things don't go as planned or when they feel overwhelmed by responsibilities. Mercury. Communication is focused on practical matters and problem solving. The individual excels at offering advice and finding solutions, often using their intellect to help others in practical ways. However, they must avoid becoming overly critical or nitpicky in their communication, as this can strain relationships. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through service and practical work. The individual seeks to broaden their understanding and influence by helping others, often focusing on health, education, or other service-oriented fields. However, they must avoid becoming too idealistic or overburdened by their sense of duty. Venus. Relationships are based on mutual service and practicality. The individual values partners who are supportive and willing to work together to solve problems and achieve common goals. However, they must avoid becoming too focused on practical concerns, neglecting the emotional or romantic aspects of the relationship. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in service are necessary for long-term success. The individual takes their duties seriously, often facing challenges or delays in achieving recognition for their work, but ultimately succeeding through perseverance and careful planning. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional methods of service or health improvement, often exploring new ways to help others or improve efficiency. However, they may struggle with instability or confusion if they become too focused on unconventional methods. Ketu. Detached from everyday concerns about service or health, the individual seeks spiritual or philosophical fulfillment through helping others. They are less interested in mundane tasks and more focused on exploring deeper truths through service and self-improvement, often feeling disconnected from practical concerns. Manifestation with planetary placements, Leo to Scorpio. Leo to Sun. Leadership is expressed through charm, diplomacy, and the ability to mediate conflicts. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to create harmony in relationships and maintain balance in professional and personal settings. They thrive in leadership roles that require fairness and collaboration, but must avoid becoming indecisive or too reliant on others' approval to maintain peace. Moon. Emotional security is rooted in relationships and social harmony. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they are surrounded by beauty, love, and harmonious connections, but they may struggle with emotional dependence on others for validation, potentially avoiding conflicts to maintain emotional balance. Mars. Energy is directed toward creating and maintaining balanced relationships. The individual works hard to maintain peace and harmony in their relationships, often asserting themselves diplomatically. However, they may become frustrated or confrontational when faced with imbalance or inequality in partnerships. Mercury. Communication is focused on creating balance and resolving conflicts. The individual excels at diplomacy, using their communication skills to mediate disputes and bring people together. However, they must guard against being too passive or conflict-averse, especially when making difficult decisions. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through building harmonious relationships and engaging in fair practices. The individual seeks personal growth through social interactions, often focusing on justice and fairness. However, they must avoid being overly idealistic or dependent on others for emotional or personal growth. Venus. Relationships and harmony are central to the individual's sense of well-being. They value partnerships that bring emotional balance, beauty, and mutual respect, but must avoid becoming too focused on appearances or sacrificing their own needs to maintain harmony. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are crucial in relationships for long-term stability. The individual may experience delays or challenges in forming balanced partnerships, but with patience and perseverance, they can achieve stable and fulfilling relationships. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional or non-traditional relationships, seeking partnerships that challenge societal norms. While they may experience excitement in these connections, they could struggle with instability if they prioritize novelty over emotional stability. Ketu. Detached from conventional relationship dynamics, the individual seeks deeper, more spiritual or philosophical connections in their partnerships. They are less concerned with superficial relationships and more focused on finding peace and balance within themselves. Leo to Scorpio. Sun. Leadership is expressed through emotional depth, power, and transformation. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to navigate complex emotional situations and assert control. They are drawn to leadership roles that require strategic thinking, emotional intensity, and transformation, but must avoid becoming too controlling or secretive in their pursuit of power. Moon. Emotional security is tied to deep emotional connections and intense transformation. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled through profound emotional experiences and relationships, but may struggle with extremes in their emotions or becoming overly attached to power dynamics in their connections. Mars. Energy is channeled into emotional transformation and control. The individual is motivated to face emotional challenges head-on and is unafraid of diving into intense emotional situations. However, they may become overly aggressive or defensive in emotionally charged scenarios, particularly if they feel their control is threatened. Mercury. Communication is focused on emotional complexity and uncovering hidden truths. The individual excels at navigating emotionally difficult conversations and is likely drawn to investigating deep personal topics. They must, however, avoid being too secretive or manipulative in their communication. Jupiter. Growth and expansion come through exploring emotional depths and transformation. The individual seeks to broaden their understanding of life through emotional and spiritual transformation, but must avoid becoming obsessed with control or power in their pursuit of personal growth. Venus. Relationships are emotionally intense and transformative. The individual values deep emotional connections and may experience significant personal growth through their partnerships, but they must guard against possessiveness or becoming too emotionally consumed by their relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in emotional matters are key to achieving long-term stability. The individual may face emotional challenges or delays in achieving emotional fulfillment, but through patience and emotional resilience, they will develop greater emotional depth and maturity. Rahu. The individual may seek unconventional emotional experiences, often exploring relationships that challenge traditional norms or push emotional boundaries. While this can lead to personal growth, it may also cause instability or confusion if they become too focused on power dynamics. Ketu. Detached from superficial emotional connections, the individual seeks deeper emotional and spiritual understanding. They are less interested in surface-level emotions and more focused on emotional transformation and inner growth, often feeling disconnected from more casual or everyday emotional experiences. Manifestation with planetary placements. Leo to Sagittarius. Sun, leadership is expressed through teaching, exploration, and the pursuit of knowledge. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to inspire others and lead through wisdom, philosophy, or travel. They thrive in roles that allow them to guide others, often in educational or philosophical contexts, but must avoid becoming overly idealistic or dogmatic in their beliefs. Moon. Emotional security is tied to intellectual exploration and freedom. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they are learning, teaching, or expanding their horizons through travel or philosophical discussions. However, they may struggle with emotional restlessness or detachment, especially if they feel confined or restricted in their ability to explore new ideas or experiences. Mars. Energy is directed toward intellectual pursuits and adventure. The individual is passionate about learning, travel, and philosophical exploration, often channeling their drive into education, mentoring, or global pursuits. However, they must guard against becoming overly forceful in their beliefs or impatient with others who don't share their enthusiasm for intellectual or spiritual growth. Mercury. Communication is focused on intellectual, philosophical, and exploratory topics. The individual excels at sharing knowledge and guiding others through teaching or intellectual discussions. However, they must avoid becoming overly preachy or rigid in their views, as this can alienate others or lead to conflicts over beliefs. Jupiter. Growth and expansion come through intellectual and spiritual exploration. The individual seeks to broaden their horizons through education, travel, or philosophical inquiry, often taking on leadership roles in teaching or mentoring. However, they must guard against overconfidence or becoming overly attached to their personal beliefs and ideals. Venus. Relationships are centered around shared intellectual, spiritual, and adventurous pursuits. The individual values partners who are intellectually stimulating and who share their love for learning and exploration. However, they must avoid becoming too idealistic or expecting their partner to fulfill all of their intellectual and spiritual needs. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in intellectual and philosophical pursuits are necessary for long-term success. The individual takes their role as a teacher, mentor, or guide seriously, often facing challenges or delays in achieving recognition, but ultimately succeeding through perseverance and dedication to their intellectual or spiritual goals. Rahu. The individual may pursue unconventional intellectual or spiritual experiences, often exploring new philosophies, beliefs, or educational paths that challenge traditional norms. However, they may struggle with intellectual instability or confusion if they become too focused on rejecting established ideas or societal expectations. Ketu. Detached from mundane intellectual pursuits, the individual seeks deeper spiritual and philosophical truths. They are less interested in everyday knowledge and more focused on exploring higher truths and spiritual understanding, often feeling disconnected from practical or material concerns.